When someone plays with your heart, the pain feels deeply personal, as if your trust was taken lightly while your feelings were genuine. Yet psychology reveals something important beneath this experience. People who manipulate emotions often carry their own unresolved struggles. Instead of facing their fears of rejection or vulnerability, they seek control in relationships, using attention and affection as temporary tools to feel secure. In the moment, they may appear confident, even indifferent, believing they can walk away without consequence. But the human mind does not simply erase emotional connections. Every sincere conversation, every moment of openness, and every silent hope shared becomes part of psychological memory. Even if they move forward quickly, their subconscious remembers the person who trusted them without hesitation. Over time, when distractions fade and moments of solitude arrive, these memories quietly return. The mind naturally seeks balance between actions and conscience, and when someone harms another emotionally, a subtle inner tension forms. This tension may not show outwardly, yet it influences how they view themselves and future relationships. Emotional manipulation often leads to shallow connections, and when genuine warmth is missing later, they recall the sincerity they once mishandled. The heart they treated carelessly becomes a reminder that emotional bonds cannot be exploited without personal consequence. While the one who was hurt begins the journey of healing, the one who caused pain carries an unseen emotional weight, proving that escaping physically does not mean escaping psychologically. As time passes, emotional awareness grows, sometimes slowly and unexpectedly. The person who played with someone's feelings may eventually encounter loneliness or relationships that lack authenticity. In such moments, comparison occurs naturally. They begin to remember the person who once offered honest affection, realizing that true emotional connection cannot be replaced easily. Psychology shows that guilt and reflection often surface later, once excitement and distractions disappear. The mind revisits past decisions, questioning choices that once seemed harmless. They may never admit it openly, yet an internal recognition forms. Someone sincere was hurt because emotional games felt easier than honesty. This realization can create discomfort because it challenges how they see themselves. Human beings prefer to view their actions as justified, but emotional memory resists false explanations. Eventually, growth forces acknowledgement of past mistakes. Meanwhile, the person who suffered learns resilience, self-respect, and emotional boundaries. Healing becomes a source of strength rather than weakness. The manipulator, however, must confront the quiet understanding that genuine trust was once given and carelessly lost. Emotional consequences rarely appear as dramatic punishment. Instead, they emerge as lingering thoughts, regret, and the awareness of opportunities that cannot return unchanged. In this way, emotional truth restores balance. The wounded heart learns to protect itself and move forward, while the one who caused the wound carries a feeling they cannot fully silence, proving that emotional actions always leave lasting impressions within the human mind. People who play with someone's emotions often do so not because they are strong, but because they fear emotional exposure themselves. Psychology explains that many individuals struggle with vulnerability, so instead of risking being hurt, they maintain control by keeping others emotionally invested while staying distant. In the beginning, this behavior seems effective. They enjoy attention, admiration, and the comfort of knowing someone cares deeply. Yet, emotional avoidance never removes emotional needs, it only postpones them. Over time, situations change. The excitement fades, distractions disappear, and life becomes quieter. In those moments, memories resurface. They begin to remember conversations filled with honesty, moments where someone trusted them sincerely, and feelings they once treated lightly. The mind naturally compares past warmth with present emptiness. What once felt replaceable now appears rare. Emotional manipulation might have provided temporary power, but long-term satisfaction comes only from authentic connection. When future relationships lack depth or fail to provide genuine emotional comfort, they realize something important was lost. Psychology shows that regret often appears when opportunities cannot return. The person who once offered loyalty and affection becomes a silent reminder of what sincerity looked like. Emotional games that once felt harmless now appear careless, creating a quiet internal discomfort that follows them even when they try to ignore it. As emotional awareness develops, the person who played with feelings begins to face their own loneliness in unexpected ways. They might enter new relationships, yet something feels missing. Conversations feel shallow, trust feels uncertain, and emotional safety seems harder to find. Slowly, they recognize that genuine connection requires honesty, something they once avoided. The memory of someone who cared sincerely becomes clearer, especially when they encounter rejection or emotional distance themselves. Psychology suggests that empathy often grows through personal experience. When they feel the same confusion or disappointment they once caused, understanding replaces indifference. This realization is rarely loud or dramatic. Instead, it appears quietly during reflection, late at night or in moments of solitude. Meanwhile, the person who was hurt moves toward healing, learning to value their emotions and build stronger boundaries. Growth transforms pain into wisdom. The manipulator, however, carries the realization that they once had something genuine but chose emotional games instead. Emotional truth does not punish loudly. It settles silently in memory, creating lessons that cannot be easily forgotten. And so, while one heart learns strength through healing, the other must live with the understanding that authenticity was once offered and carelessly lost, a feeling that cannot be completely escaped no matter how much time passes. When a person treats emotions as something to control rather than something to respect, they slowly damage their own ability to trust others. Psychology shows that behavior toward others often becomes the lens through which we view the world. Someone who manipulates feelings begins to assume that emotional sincerity is rare or unrealistic because they themselves have not practiced it. At first, this may not seem harmful. They believe staying emotionally detached protects them from disappointment. However, over time, suspicion grows quietly. In future relationships, they question intentions, doubt kindness, and remain guarded even when someone is genuine. Emotional distance becomes a habit. The heart they once treated casually becomes a reference point for what authentic connection looked like, even if they did not value it at the time. When later relationships fail or feel uncertain, comparison naturally occurs. They remember the trust that was once freely given, and they realize how rare such openness actually is. This awareness does not arrive suddenly but builds slowly through experience. Emotional games may feel like victories in the moment, yet they gradually weaken the ability to form deep bonds. Instead of feeling secure, they begin to feel isolated, unable to fully believe in anyone's sincerity. Psychology reminds us that trust grows from honesty, and when honesty is absent, emotional stability becomes fragile. The result is a lingering sense that something meaningful was lost through their own actions. As time passes, emotional consequences become clearer. The individual who once avoided commitment or sincerity may notice that relationships around them lack depth. Conversations feel cautious, connections feel temporary, and emotional closeness seems harder to achieve. Slowly, they begin to understand that their own past behavior influences how they now experience relationships. When someone finally treats them with the same emotional distance they once showed others, empathy emerges. They start to feel the uncertainty and confusion they once caused. This emotional mirror forces reflection, often bringing memories of someone they hurt unintentionally or carelessly. Meanwhile, the person whose heart was played with learns resilience and emotional awareness, becoming stronger and wiser through healing. Growth replaces vulnerability. The manipulator, however, must confront the reality that genuine trust cannot be rebuilt easily once broken. Psychology teaches that actions shape future expectations, and emotional insincerity often returns as loneliness or suspicion. Emotional truth operates quietly but persistently, reminding them of moments when honesty was possible but ignored. In the end, the heart they once dismissed becomes part of their personal lesson, showing that manipulating emotions may provide temporary control, yet it leaves behind a lasting difficulty in trusting others, and this quiet consequence follows them, shaping their relationships long after the game itself has ended. Human conscience rarely remains silent forever. Even when someone appears indifferent after hurting another person emotionally, the subconscious mind continues processing those experiences. Psychology suggests that unresolved emotional actions do not disappear. They remain stored beneath awareness, waiting for moments of quiet reflection to resurface. A person who played with someone's feelings may initially justify their behavior, telling themselves it was harmless or necessary. But emotional memory does not follow such logic. Over time, situations arise that trigger reflection. A similar relationship failure, loneliness, or personal growth that brings greater self-awareness. Suddenly, past actions appear in a new light. They remember someone who trusted them sincerely, someone whose vulnerability they mishandled. This awareness creates an inner discomfort, not because of external judgment, but because personal values begin to clash with past behavior. The mind naturally seeks harmony between actions and identity. When this harmony breaks, emotional tension develops. Even if they never apologize or admit fault openly, the realization remains. Emotional experiences demand closure, and when closure is avoided, memories return repeatedly. The person they hurt becomes a symbol of unfinished emotional responsibility. Meanwhile, the one who suffered begins healing, gaining clarity about their own worth. As emotional strength grows on one side, emotional awareness slowly grows on the other, proving that consequences of emotional actions often appear internally rather than externally. With time, empathy often develops through personal experience. When the individual who once treated emotions lightly later faces rejection or emotional distance themselves, understanding begins to form. They feel confusion, disappointment, or sadness similar to what they once caused, and this creates a powerful emotional mirror. Psychology shows that people often recognize the impact of their actions only after experiencing similar situations. This realization may come quietly during reflective moments, perhaps when relationships fail repeatedly or when emotional connection feels difficult to maintain. The past resurfaces, bringing memories of someone who offered sincerity without hesitation. Regret can appear, not necessarily dramatic, but persistent enough to influence future choices. At the same time, the person whose heart was once played with moves forward, learning boundaries and self-respect. Healing transforms pain into emotional maturity. The manipulator, however, carries a lesson shaped by memory and reflection. Emotional truth does not rush. It arrives gradually, forcing recognition of missed opportunities and careless decisions. In the end, the emotional consequences become personal teachers. The one who caused pain realizes that genuine connections cannot be replaced easily, and that sincerity, once offered, cannot always return unchanged. Thus, emotional balance restores itself quietly. One heart grows stronger through recovery, while the other learns